EGM Network.
Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. This episode is partially sponsored by Libby Weissman and her team at SeniorTransitionNavigator.com and LuxuryHomesOfTheTreasureCoast.com. So Libby works with seniors. She's a senior herself, and she helps them with planning and making decisions to live a vibrant life in their golden years. Some of the services include downsizing, decluttering, packing, moving, relocation, estate sales, real estate sales, and more. So for a consultation, give her a call, 772-783-2800. The websites, SeniorTransitionNavigator.com and LuxuryHomesOfTheTreasureCoast.com. So as consumers, we are seeing prices going up everywhere, like gas, food, housing. But business owners, they're seeing rising prices as well, and they really have to be careful so that they remain profitable. They have to raise prices as well. Labor costs, supply costs are big factors, but so are payment processing costs. So to talk about this, I have someone here who is with a company that is in business for over 10 years and becoming quite the disruptor in the industry. Evelina Osip is a payment advisor with Florida Merchant Services. She has a lot to share because when it comes to her clients, she helps them with being efficient in their payment processing and managing their costs. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ellen. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I am happy to be here because I told you that I've known people through the years that have, had some issues, and we'll talk about that later. But before we talk, and your company addresses all of that, so I'm so happy to put the spotlight on you. But what I want to hear about is a little bit about your background and why you wanted to be in this industry and work for Florida Merchant Services.
Sure. So my background comes from the hospitality industry. I was in that industry for over a decade. I did everything from serving, bartending, managing, and then eventually I was running several different array of restaurants. And then I got into understanding what goes into owning a restaurant, and payment processing was one of the things that I had to take care of. So when I had the opportunity to get into the space, I was very delighted and very happy to take that lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in the hospitality industry, it's all about customer service and making people happy. But then when you got to the business part of it, like I call it the back office part of it, then you got into the nuts and bolts. So now that you're with Florida Merchant Services, you're taking all of that customer service aspect and
applying it into the payment processing aspect of it, which in this industry, customer service, I think, should be key. And that's where...
Should. Not always, but it should be.
It should. My customers and my clients are, what really makes me want to do this job and proceed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. So now again, like I said a moment ago, I know people that have told me their tales of woe, that they had a business or like a payment processing service that they were initially happy with. They thought they understood what they were getting into and the pricing. And then a few months later, a year later, it doesn't look anything like what they have signed up for. And that's a big problem. So if you could explain why you are so different.
Sure. So at Florida Merchant Services, what really differentiates us from others is that we, first of all, don't have any contracts. Mm-hmm. We price you fairly, and give you different opportunities and different programs to look at, whether it should be a flat rate, whether you want to eliminate your fees completely. And I really make you understand what you're paying monthly. That to me is the biggest.
It's
it's transparency at the end of the day. Thank you. Transparency is key in this industry.
Yeah. And then there's like free loaners, next day deposits.
Yes. So we have free loaners on most of our equipment, next day funding, of course. No contract. I like to always really state that because that makes my job that much harder to keep my clients. I have to make sure you're happy with your merchant service provider, because you could leave at any time. And, you're not going to pay $400 or $500 to exit.
That's a huge issue with people that are legitimately unhappy. And Cindy knows a thing or two because she comes from that industry. She's only 45, but she says she's been in it for 30 years. I don't know how she started when she was 5, right? So, but it is a frustrating thing. And I've heard this, that it's hundreds of dollars to get out to go somewhere else.
Yes, and they put you into these contracts. And, they give you an introductory rate, and then that rate tends to go up, whether it's 6 months, 3 months, a year later. You're in sometimes contracts for 2 to 3 years, even 4 years I've seen. And people look at their contracts and they're 30 pages long. Nobody really is reading a 30-page contract. When you're looking at and it's not a contract, it's an application fee, it's 7 pages long. And that includes the loaner equipment. And what's beautiful with that, I go page by page and I show you where there is no early termination fee, there is no contract. Page by page, I go with you, highlight, and answer any and every question you may have.
Yes, I love that so much. Now, the other thing on the flip side, when we've talked about, the businesses getting frustrated, we're also hearing about a business owner. I've heard from more than one business owner that they stay where they are, unhappy as they are, because they're afraid of what it's going to take to make the switch. So, of course, they're hearing about the separation fee, if you want to call it that. Then it's like, what about the equipment and new equipment and how difficult that is? So they just stay where they are, and they're wasting a ton of money. So what would you like to say about that?
Yes, so I make it as easy as possible. I will hold your hand every step of the way if that's what needs to happen. So once we get you approved, we simply get you a terminal out within 24 hours. Sometimes their delays do happen, but within 24 hours. And I love to do my own installs for a couple of reasons.
Oh, so you don't pass it off to a technician named Joe that doesn't understand?
I don't. Evelina is who you get.
Nothing wrong with Joe. All right. I'm sorry for the Joes of the world, but you've built a relationship and they're comfortable. So you actually are there for the install.
That's correct. So I like to do the install because first, I always ask if we can have all the people that are going to be using the machines, so that way I can train them properly. I show you how to do the sale, how to do a refund, how to do a void. I typically have all of my merchants on auto batch, so you walk out the door and you don't have to worry about a batch, but I will show you if you like to do your own batches at the end of the evening. And I give you a laminated sheet, a cheat sheet for each one of your machines, to show you exactly if you should forget. And of course, you have my personal phone number to call me at any time.
So an actual cell phone that gets to you, not an 800 number.
Yes. No 800 numbers here.
This is why I'm so happy that you're sitting here in this chair, because even a few times that we've met, like there was one time where we were meeting for coffee and you had to stop and see someone. And then I forgot what that success story was, but you've had quite a few.
I have. And if you don't mind, I'll share one of them.
Please, yeah.
So there is one particular company. They're out of Fort Pierce, a fairly large company. And once I boarded them, we started getting chargebacks. What that means is somebody would bought a product from them. This is a hardscape landscape company.
Oh, so we're talking thousands, hundreds or thousands of dollars.
Typically per delivery. So they I had them onboarded for about 3 months, and he got his first charge back. And so I called him. I said, hello, hi, it's Evelina. Unfortunately, I have not the greatest news. We're dealing with a chargeback. We have X amount of days to deal with it. He provided all the necessities and all of his invoicing. We got that to the chargeback department, and we actually were able to successfully win that. We have a wonderful chargeback department. But 2 months later, same occurrence happened. So I sat down with him and his staff in his office, and I said, let's identify exactly what's happening. There is a trend here.
Right. So
we sat down and we were able to identify that these chargebacks were starting to happen always on a Saturday. So it was let's say a person would call and say, I need a delivery to this address here. Okay. And he would have his delivery guy put the product on the truck, take it to the site. The person wasn't there to sign for the slip. So we put measures into place. One of them being, from this point forward, we need an identification and the credit card sent over to a mobile cell phone to make sure, A, it's the correct person.
Yeah.
And secondly, he started implementing a person on site when he was delivering the product.
Yeah.
So that way, A, we could get signature and to ensure that that was really the customer.
Okay, so this is very important because another conversation we had, you were saying that with other payment processing companies that you experienced before you got into this, that chargebacks could happen, but the company didn't notify, and then the business owner wasn't paying attention. And some chargebacks, somebody might buy a dress and it's just not the right thing and they're going to return it, so that's fine. But there are there are people that purposely try to fraud the system. They're cheating the system. So you are actually mindful. You're watching your clients' activities.
I watch every one of my clients on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I get up. That is the first thing that I do every morning. I ensure that I didn't get a chargeback. Not only do you get a chargeback email from our company, but I also get notified.
Okay.
And I call my clients because I feel it is very, very important that I get a personal call to ensure, because like I said, we do only have a time frame to get that paperwork back over to
Sure.
the
And if
opposing
it's
bank.
legitimate, it is. But this is also another layer of protection that you offer. And with that, Cindy, she got so wrapped up. Ooh, she loved what you had to say because she wasn't telling me to take a break. But we have to. So you have to stay put because we have so much more to talk about. We'll be right back.
Is your pool losing its cool and its water? Don't let your money drain into the dirt. At Leak Seekers FLA, we'll find and repair your pool leak fast. Visit leakseekersfla.com. Not just leaks, but resurfacing, equipment, and more. Leakseekersfla.com. Let us take a peek and find the pool leak.
Healthy retirement starts at Treasure Coast Community Health. Short waits, easy scheduling, on-site services, wellness visits, chronic care management, and same-day sick visits. Call 772-257-8224 or visit tcchinc.org.
The Blue Angels are back at the Vero Beach Air Show, presented by Piper Aircraft Inc. Feel the power of the Blue Angels Saturday and Sunday. The Vero Beach Air Show, May 15th, 16th, and 17th. Tickets at VeroAirShow.com.
Are you opening a used car lot, pawn shop, a restaurant that will serve beer and wine? In the state of Florida, these and many other industries require a Level 2 live scan background check for clearance to work in your industry. A1A Fingerprints is your certified live scan source from Broward to Brevard. And if you're a medical provider, you need to be registered on the ACA web portal. A1A Fingerprints will help you navigate and comply with the law. Call 772-494-6556 or visit a1afingerprints.com. A1A Fingerprints.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I am with Evelina Osip, and she's a payment advisor with Florida Merchant Services. And we had such a great, intense conversation about how you're really helping your clients. You're protecting them, you're saving them like thousands of dollars in some cases in fees and chargebacks and such that I forgot in the first half to ask for your contact information. How do people get in touch with you?
Well, you simply just call me on my cell phone. My phone number is 916-708-3111.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. And now what I want to learn about is we talked about the business owners that, are seasoned. They've been in business for a while. We've addressed how you help them make a change. But what about a new business? And how do you help them figure out what type of equipment to like walk me through the process of what it's like for a new business owner?
Sure. So we identify, first of all, what type of business it is. Many times I've walked into business places and they have 5 pieces of equipment and they are not needing 5 pieces of equipment. Okay. So sometimes you just need a standalone terminal and that's fine for your business model. Mm-hmm. Other times you need equipment to track your inventory, to track your sales, to track all of the expenditures. So at that point, we could look at a different POS. So identifying what type of business you are and what you are using your credit card processor for is key.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, very good. And then what about Florida Merchant Services, the company? Tell us a little bit more about the services that you offer, the area that you cover as a payment advisor. And even though it's Florida Merchant Services, Jamar and Rhonda Manlove, the founders,
wonderful people to work for, by the way.
Yeah. So talk about them and the fact that they thought in one area, but they're not just Florida anymore. So give us an overview of Florida Merchant Services.
Of course. So they are based out of Orlando. That is our corporate office. We have advisors everywhere, all over Florida. So anywhere you're looking in Florida, there is an advisor. I can almost assure you that. Mm-hmm. And if there isn't, we will drive to you. That is the customer service that we stand by. And Jamar and Rhonda are phenomenal people to work for. Customer service, they are there for their agents. If I have a questions that I just don't know, mm-hmm. I get an answer, I get a reply within a minute. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's unheard of when it comes to a growing company.
Yeah.
And he has extended his processing into other states. And mm-hmm. we have advisors that come from other states where they have they worked with other companies and they have switched over to Florida Merchant Services because of mm-hmm. the customer service.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I love that so much. So now before someone calls you for an appointment, what would you like them to do to prepare to have the best initial consult?
Of course. So it really does help when we're looking at the bottom line of your numbers. Okay, mm-hmm. So a couple months worth of statements definitely helps us identify what you're currently spending, mm-hmm. where you're overspending, and then a bit about your business at the end of the day, because I really would like to sit down with you and have everything ready for you. Mm-hmm. Whether you, like I said, whether you need something, if you're doing a clothing store, let's say, you need inventory. What type of equipment would be a good fit for you? Mm-hmm. Restaurants, we do everything and anything under the sun as long as you're processing. Another thing that I've been really getting into is, or we have been getting into, is online sales. So
yeah, explain that, because there are many people that have a brick and mortar location, but then, like, for example, a soap making company, so soap and body lotions, and they make it and they sell it at this, adorable store. But then, because of friends and family, they're shipping. So now all of a sudden they're getting requests to sell all over the place. So they set up a little, I guess, warehouse situation.
Well, wherever they have their product, I would imagine, right?
So, or what if they even go to like craft fairs? So they have a brick and mortar, they're selling online, and then they want to go to craft fairs or shows. How do you handle that?
So we could definitely integrate into online. So we have different types we have fluid pay that we use. We have different gateways, and that is simple, simple, simple. We just need your gateway ID, and we're able to get you up and running within a few hours typically. So that's as easy as it gets. We are able to plug in that gateway ID and get onto the website, and you can do your processing right through there.
Wow. Okay, so that's amazing. And we have a lot of small companies that, maybe they're 2 to 4 people, and they're doing everything, online. At what point I'm just thinking of how many sales do they have to have before they can start working, like consistent sales, before they can start working with a payment processing company?
That's all really dependent on what they feel. A lot of people I've noticed with smaller companies start off with something like Square.
Yeah.
Or something like
Thank
that.
you. So how do they decide that they want to graduate? Because they're bootstrapping, baby stepping their business. When do they decide that they want to get from Square to what you have to offer?
Well, we can identify exactly what type of cards they're taking. And we can identify if they're overspending, because sometimes as your business scales, your numbers grow tremendously.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens fairly quickly. So we can definitely cut the cost at that point, because we can even put you at a flat rate. Or, like I said, if you decide as a business owner you no longer want to pay the fees, we also have that program available for those customers. So we completely eliminate your fees.
Very good. So now another question. But before I do that, we have a question from the studio audience of one who's also managing all of the tech over there. Cindy, what about medical and dental offices? That's a good question.
Yes, medical and dental offices are a bit hard for me to get into, and I would love to work with them. But unfortunately, there's a lot of gatekeepers there. But yes, we have the certification to work with dental and medical.
Okay. So I think with the practice managers that you could tell them that if you give me a little bit of time with you and the doctor, you're going to either validate that what you have works perfectly for you, or if I can save you time and money, then maybe your Christmas bonus could be even bigger.
I love that.
I always think about these things, So honestly, truly, I feel bad that business owners have gatekeepers, because I think, we have 2 minutes left. No. Okay. It's sad that they have gatekeepers, because if they would allow the person to leave the information to get in front of them, then they can rule people in or out. I wouldn't want to give somebody that autonomy in my business, because what if they're pushing you away and you're the answer that business owner's been looking for? So poo-poo on you gatekeepers. Yeah, even Cindy says that's correct.
And I'm not sure if I mentioned though, we do lock in our rates. I don't know if that's something that so I think, I think that's very, very important when it comes to this industry. So if you are on the Interchange Plus program, we do lock in your rate. So you are no longer going to be getting increases when it comes to that, which I find is very important in this industry and what really, really sets us apart from many others.
Very good. And then in terms of scalability, you start working with a business owner, and then all of a sudden their revenue, they're just selling, or maybe they're adding on other services or other locations. So as they grow, then you can help them up level.
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's equipment or anything, I'm just a simple phone call away, and I will help you and guide you.
Good. So phone number, we only have a few seconds left.
Yes, phone number one more time is going to be 916-708-3111.
Very good. And it's Evelina at floridamerchant1.com. EVELINA.
Yes.
Yay. Okay. And with that, we only have a few seconds. So if you don't call Evelina, it's to your own detriment. That's what I have to say as the host of Treasure Coast Connector. Until next week, I miss you already.